trying to figure out. There's like this much space. Oh, help me! I'm melting. I'm melting.
Welcome to the Tailgate, brought to you by Verizon. 5G built right from the network more people rely on, only on Verizon. I'm Michelle Margot alongside Ralph Bacchiano. These are my pumpkins, and I have them for no other reason other than our producers asked us to have a Halloween prop this week for Halloween, and I wanted to one-up Ralph, which I failed to do yet again, like I always do. But Ralph, last Sunday was really tough for the Jets. They got blown out by the Patriots. They lost Zach Wilson to a sprained PCL. With the team heading in the wrong direction, is there anyone that they could look to move by the trade deadline next week?
If I'm the Jets, I absolutely would find some guys to trade at the trading deadline. If they had stayed competitive, I might say otherwise, but I think they've got to look at dealing safety Marcus May, for example. He doesn't have a future with the team, I don't think. I think he's going to be far too expensive. They haven't really tried to re-sign him beyond the franchise tag that he's playing at right now. So if they can get even a low pick for him, it makes sense to deal him. I think another guy that they've got to at least have some conversations about is Jamison Crowder, because, a receiver like him could have a lot of value to a contender. You look at the New Orleans Saints, a team like that just doesn't have receivers right now. He could be helpful for them. But the problem with Crowder is you want a guy like him to be around your rookie quarterback to help him out. If you get rid of him, well, it just means more playing time for Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims. It's something they're going to have to consider. They probably could get a third-round pick, or maybe even better if they put Crowder on the market. So, yeah, don't play for this year. You're playing for the future, and you got to trade some of these guys who won't be here next year away.
Time for the audible as we welcome in Bleacher Report's Connor Rogers. And Connor, it sounds like the best possible diagnosis for Zach Wilson, hopefully just missing up 2 to 4 weeks. So how much of a blow is this just for his progress in his rookie season?
Yeah, there's two ways to look at it, right? Obviously, this is bad for Zach Wilson. You never want to get hurt, especially during your rookie season. You're trying to build on momentum. You're trying to get better each week. You're trying to just get him reps right now. That's why when they drafted him, they handed him the keys to the car right away. Now, on the flip side, and things have been a roller coaster, and there's been a lot of bad so far. Some of that has been out of Wilson's hands with how the team around him has performed. Some questionable play calling, of course. Maybe it is a good time to actually sit back and watch. That's something that Robert Saleh said. The schedule, not great right now. Obviously, the Bengals have looked really good. They got the Bills coming up in the next couple of games. That maybe when you sit him, give him some time to watch, that he returns the same time as Mekhi Becton returns, then the schedule lightens up a little bit. You're going to see the Texans. You're going to see the Dolphins. You're going to see the Jaguars. You're going to see teams that maybe he comes back, performs really well, and you actually get some momentum going into next season as well.
And look, this has been a debate for decades now. What's better for a rookie quarterback, to sit and watch or to actually play? And every quarterback will tell you, I want to play. But in hindsight, a lot of those veterans will say, I learned by sitting and watching. And I think that that's what the Jets are hoping. That, okay, Zach Wilson's now played his 6 games. His head is spinning. He's trying to process a million different things. Take a step back. And whether it's watching a veteran like Joe Flacco, if he gets in, see what he does, or just to take a breath, calm down a little bit. He's got to be a little bit rattled on some level. They think that it'll be a positive thing for him. Obviously, if he's not out too long, they don't want this to last more than a month, because they'd really like him to get, all of December, if not more, in on the field.
Connor, the good news is that with Wilson's injury, the Jets will likely draft at the top of the draft. Is there anyone in particular that the Jets should keep their eye on?
Yeah, of course, you have somebody like Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon that has been the projected number 1 pick. Going back years ago for this draft when he was a freshman, he dominated in the Pac-12. But when you look at it, if the Jets do not pick number 1, number 2, number 3, they get out of that range. All the Jets fans already have their eyes on Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa, one of the best centers that I've ever evaluated so far. This is a franchise that you went from Kevin White and Nick Mangold, and it's been a disaster ever since that. And you see it every week. Connor McGovern, while he's not necessarily the biggest problem on the offensive line, I think that would be Greg Van Roten. There's been a lot of communication issues. They want a center of the future to pair with Wilson. So I think Linderbaum is going to be a name that Jets fans are going to be attached to probably for the next 6 months, and rightly so. I think he is worthy of a top 15 pick. Joe Douglas is a guy that is always going to stack the deck on the offensive line until it's done. Not a 3 out of 5, not a 4 out of 5, until it's 5 out of 5. Like the Dallas Cowboys did a couple years ago, and you can see where that franchise is right now with Dak Prescott.
I can't believe we're talking draft again in October. This is becoming a yearly ritual.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Time for the comment section. And this week we are looking at Daniel Jones' one-handed catch and the reaction from some of his teammates on Twitter. We'll start with Kadarius Toney. He tweeted, "Daniel Beckham Jr., folks. That's the tweet." And then Darius Slayton, this one's my favorite. He said, "Your favorite quarterback could never." So Ralph, what do you think of Jones' catch and his performance on Sunday?
Well, I thought it was a great catch for a quarterback. It was certainly a lot of fun to watch. Not very athletic. He just sort of got a little bit up in the air to deflect it to himself. I think people got a little carried away. I saw on Twitter that some people were calling it the greatest catch in Giants history. It doesn't even come close to what Odell Beckham did, or David Tyree, or I probably can think of a dozen Amani Toomer catches that on the sidelines that were pretty good too. So, but considering who it was a great catch, and obviously it added to, for him, it was a really strong performance in a game where the Giants had no weapons around him to be the receiver, the running back, and the quarterback. If he could just play left tackle, the Giants would have actual offense.
Right, and he was efficient. I think that's what they needed out of Daniel Jones right now, especially when they face these teams that have weaker quarterback situations like what the Panthers are going through. Jones didn't go out and necessarily try to be a hero besides the catch that he had, but actually playing quarterback. You could see the efficiency, accuracy, not doing anything where he's recklessly giving the football away. So for Daniel Jones, and when in games like that, when you're missing a ton of your playmakers, your offensive line, that's all you can ask for. So a really good all-around performance from Daniel Jones.
Connor, do you think that Daniel Jones has done enough to prove that he's a franchise quarterback?
For Daniel Jones, most importantly, he's basically made sure that nobody's saying they have to draft a quarterback, they have to acquire a quarterback, they have to move on from Jones. He's been the least of their problems this year when you look at the full season sample size. Now, has he gone out there and shown you examples of him probably propelling himself in the future to being a top 10, top 12 quarterback? He has not done that yet. I think, once again, am I the biggest fan of Jason Garrett necessarily for his future? Not all the time. So I think for Jones, right now, knowing they have that fifth-year option in their back pocket, they can roll into year number 4 with him. They don't have to hand him a $100 million contract right now and pay him like he's going to be a top 10 guy, and continue to see how he gets better with more important pieces around him.
I just wouldn't be surprised if they do decide to pay him the long-term contract after the season, for a couple of reasons. One is a lot of this Daniel Jones talk has been focused on, will they draft someone next year with those 2 high, presumably first-round picks? They could move up and get someone. Well, if Daniel Jones keeps playing like this, they're not even going to think about that, which means you're going to push that decision even further. They're obviously going to sign him to the 5th-year option. They have to make that decision in May, and they have no better option on their roster or coming down the pike, so they'll do that. And if you look at their salary cap situation, what's better for 2023, giving him that $20 million cap hit or whatever it is for his 5th-year option, or signing him to a long-term deal where maybe they can lower that a little bit and get some room to continue to build around him? Because they look at this roster, despite the record, they think there's enough talent there to compete once they're healthy, and they do believe that they have the quarterback to do it.
I guess time will tell. Connor, thank you so much for your time. We certainly appreciate it. Time now for a Halloween edition of Fashion Sense, where we take a look back at Halloween costumes of NFL players from years past.
Well, first, before we do that, I'm going to get into the spirit here. Let me get into costume.
Ralph?
I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
Do you like my costume?
That didn't know it was a costume other than the face.
It's the same SNY shirt. It hasn't been washed in about a year.
All right, we'll start with Giants tight end Kyle Rudolph as Tigger a few years ago. I love this. Also, that he was the most comfortable one at the party that night.
Absolutely. That's just adorable, and something that I'm sure a lot of defensive ends mentioned when they were, trying to be blocked by a soft, fuzzy tiger.
Jets punter Thomas Morstead and his family. He's the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
That's really cool. I love when they incorporate their entire families into it. I think that's just, all to use the word again, adorable and, very creative too. He does look like a beast, which punters don't usually.
Yeah, don't ever say that to someone's face. One of the all-timers, Russell Wilson, as his head coach, Pete Carroll.
We're here. Seattle Children's. Got a real cool thing going on.
It's the gum chewing that makes this one so great. He's got his mannerisms down, his look. This is perfect.
Well, they know each other quite well. Bill Belichick as a pirate. Arr.
Yeah, I'm a little creeped out by this one, to be perfectly honest. Bill Belichick holding a sword at somebody's throat seems very on brand to me. It just, we get this off the screen. I can't look at it anymore.
If you're tailgating at a game on Halloween Sunday this year, October 31st, do you think you have to wear a costume?
Well, first of all, I'm wearing this to the game on Sunday. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I think you do. I think you have to get in the spirit. And besides, if you're a Giants or Jets fan, you need something to make this a festive occasion because the football is not going to liven things up. So get into it. Come dressed to attract the TV cameras, look ridiculous, show everybody your creative side.
Ralph, before we wrap up, I just think it's so odd that you haven't moved this entire segment.
Yeah, I'm like a ventriloquist. It's kind of really creepy.
Very impressive. All right, well, that's going to do it for this Halloween edition of The Tailgate for Ralph Vacchiano. I'm Michelle Margot, and we'll see you next week.